So, bonjour tout le monde. No, it won't be in French.
I look like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, that's right. Speak Klingon. So, hello. My name is Richard Dufault, and I am the master of open shutter photography. And I thought it'd be really cool to do a little podcast or broadcast of some nerds talking about Star Trek. So I think this happened when we wanted to talk about Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And that just didn't happen. And so I thought, if we don't do it, we'll never do it. So here we are talking about Star Trek Discovery. So Etienne Moreau. We go camping together a lot. And Doug Patriarche. We go camping together, but not as often. So if anybody has any problems hearing us, let us know. If you have any comments or questions, you can post them in. We can see it. We're going to see all of your comments and questions coming through. So, and I'm aware that we're going out live, and so we're super nervous because there's 2 people watching. But we're also recording, and the video is pretty terrible because I don't have a high quality webcam, and the audio is terrible because my Mac Mini isn't set up to have microphones plugged into it without a MIDI. So if this turns out to be popular, I'll equip myself for the next time.
That's setting the bar quite high, isn't it?
Yeah, if it's popular, but I don't know. Maybe some Star Trek luminary will watch this and give us some feedback.
Or would be the laughing stock of Facebook.
Yeah. So maybe we should start by sharing why we like Star Trek and why we were willing to humiliate ourselves in front of 2 viewers.
There'll be more.
Yeah. So go ahead, Doug.
Sure. I guess I'm a longtime sci-fi fan. I'm not a massive Star Trek fan, so I'd say I'm a Star Trek casual fan. I watched the original series when I was a kid. I had the Star Trek technical manual.
I did too.
Yeah, and I loved that manual to death. Oh my god. I watched Next Generation like everybody did, but I didn't watch all of Voyager or Deep Space Nine because I was too busy doing other things. I loved Enterprise though, and the movies, and I pretty much loved Star Trek Discovery.
What is your favorite Star Trek movie?
That's a trick question. It has to be Khan.
Yes, the correct answer is Wrath of Khan.
Thank you.
All right, Etienne, would you like to talk about your love of Star Trek?
Yes, I come from a different language completely. When I grew up, Star Trek was on CBC in French, translated. So we would always watch it Sunday morning. I think it was the time it was playing, if I remember well. And
Sous l'océan!
Sorry. And later on, when the Next Generation came out, I was never an rabid watcher of the Next Generation, but I did later on just watch it in rerun and syndication. And then, like Doug, took me over and stopped watching, but rediscovered it last autumn when I binge watched Enterprise over while I was on sick leave, and really enjoyed it. And I kind of found it nice that Discovery kind of took the things I liked best about Enterprise, which was kind of the longer story. Anyway, and yeah, as usual, the needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few. You can't go wrong with that.
So well, my name's Richard, and I've been a Star Trek fan. Well, I guess Star Wars was the first thing because I was 9 years old. Star Wars came out, but then the motion picture came out shortly after that, and I remember thinking this is good. And then I saw that, and then I got into the original series, and then like everyone else, the movies, and then Next Generation. I like Deep Space Nine, but still Next Generation was better. Voyager, I didn't like it. I watched Enterprise for a while, but I stopped watching it because I didn't like it. I think I like it more now. Maybe we weren't ready for schmaltzy soap opera. I don't know. It just felt.
Yeah. I didn't watch it when it aired, but I watched it some years later.
Yeah, no, we tried to watch it. It was, but it was. Star Trek was getting into the gratuitous nudity, or not nudity, but the gratuitous, anyway, I didn't like it. It just didn't work for me. But and obviously my favorite Star Trek film is Wrath of Khan. So
Right one.
Yeah, and I'm one of the few people that ranks the motion picture almost up there too. I really like the
the motion picture, because you come back, you revisit something that you grew up with, and that opening scene when they're going over around the shuttle with on the Enterprise, it's just gorgeous.
Oh, the beauty shots. I want to get into that when we talk about Discovery, about beauty shots and about, just beauty shots, because Discovery hardly has any. They never slowly show you the ship. They never do fly-arounds of the ship and get close and and all that stuff. They just,
I guess you're right.
there's a lot less visuals in Discovery than there were in any other Star Trek show. So that's one thing we can talk about. All right, so we've got that out of the way. So we are real Star Trek fans.
Or as much as we call ourselves that.
I really liked the first J.J. Abrams film. It was, there were many things about it that were kind of like warning bells, I guess. But I mean, it brought life back into Star Trek. It was fun.
I like that one.
And then Into Darkness came out, and it was effing terrible. I remember thinking, please don't be Khan, please don't be Khan, please don't be Khan, and then he was Khan.
I'm sorry, I kind of like that one.
And then Dr. Marcus took off her clothes for no reason, and then the Enterprise shields didn't work.
But actually, it's kind of nice when you talk about that. That Khan really dates back to, in the Enterprise, there's a whole season about the Augmented, which is quite nice. That's a very nice story arc in the Enterprise series itself. That's when I was telling about what I liked is that, 22 episodes per season, there's a lot of filler, but they do go through 4 or 5 episodes per season that it basically brings the story forward and basically builds up to what we know afterwards. Very well done.
Yep.
Which is at the start with Discovery, you were kind of saying, oh, are they breaking canon? Is it like the real universe? We don't know. And at the end, I thought it just
and we can talk about that when we get to it. So so we've introduced ourselves.
Yes.
We are all fans. We are real.
And Control is already out the door.
Oh, and we always forget the animated TV series, which was
I've never seen it.
pretty bad. Anyway, but they had like the voice actors were all the original cast. It was all the same writers of the original episodes and things, But anyway, okay, so I guess we can move on to the next subject, which would be paywall. So when this show was announced, they announced that it was going to be free on CBS, for the first 2 episodes, and then after that, all access. For people this new streaming service that they were launching that had literally no content except Star Trek, or no new content except Star Trek.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like CBS was just killing Star Trek.
But luckily enough, it didn't affect us in Canada.
Well,
Because it was Crave instead.
every other country got to watch it for free on Netflix.
Did they?
Americans had to pay, but every other country that have Netflix, for free, you're paying for Netflix.
Oh,
But could just watch it on Netflix, but not Canada. You had to watch it on Crave TV.
No, you could have it through Space.
Or if you have the Space Channel, you could watch it as well.
That's where I got it. I could see it before them.
But you have to watch it. But you have to PVR it or watch it with commercials because it wasn't streaming.
Nothing bad with that. I actually miss the good old days of actually being able to go to the toilet while the show is on.
I was gonna say, I could just pause it. Yeah. Anyway, so we all thought, oh God, it's behind the paywall, But then there was a miracle, and the first miracle was that I was willing to pay money to see this. It's a friend of mine, Jody Hawk. He said, I said, paywall, and he said, dude, if you want to watch the show, why wouldn't you want to pay?
Yeah.
You pay more than $6 a month to go to the movies if you go to the movies more than once. So if you like it, pay for it.
And they had some sort of intro deal.
Yeah, well, first month free or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever.
So free.
So it turns out that I was willing to pay, and I'm still paying because Crave has a bunch of other stuff that I like. So
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not paying because you've already got the channel.
No, I'm paying also Crave.
Oh, because you're rewatching it. Okay.
Yeah, no, but like you said, there's a lot of good stuff on Crave.
Yeah.
However, I just saw a couple days ago, CBS All Access is coming to Canada next year.
So we're gonna have to stop.
So I know.
Well,
Like
yeah, the
what?
internet, it's all going to fragment, right? Disney's
Yeah.
going to pull all of their stuff
Yeah.
off Netflix and start their own. I mean, they've got so much stuff going on, right? So it's going to be
So CBS's proposition is kind of $6 or so a month for their small fragment of stuff, of which probably the only thing I'm going to be interested in is Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
No.
our whole life is going to be microtransactions.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah. And eventually, we put together Netflix and Crave and CBS All Access and the Disney thing, and it's going to end up to be
$200 a month.
I was thinking $50 a month, kind of in a cable level.
Yeah. Well, and anyone that's watching, if you're interested in finding out more or have questions or whatever, just fire away. So, all right. So that's the paywall. So it just seems like it was a huge success. Very shortly after they aired a few episodes, they announced they were going to do a second season, which seemed impossible. It seemed like we were only going to get one season. So that was very cool. We can also talk about the production seemed troubled. when they were talking about the show,
Yeah.
there was lots of secrecy. They weren't revealing any information. It seemed like they were like losing writers and gaining writers, and
Well, I think Brian Fuller was the producer or something, and he left.
That's right. And then the guy who took over, what was his name? What's his name? He was one of the co-writers of friggin' Into Darkness. And I'm like, that's not good news. Also co-writer of like the 2 of the worst Transformers movies. Whatever.
It's a good thing I didn't know these things.
Yeah. So. And he was actually on After Trek, talking very smartly about Star Trek, and it's like, how can this be the same guy, who wrote literally the worst Star Trek? So
Well, it all comes down to control, or how much control he has.
I guess.
If the production was already troubled and CBS wanted to get as much as it could, maybe it gives carte blanche, and then he basically can do full strikes. So
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so do we want to talk about?
We go in order.
Yeah. How about? Well, you want to talk about first and going boldly and so on?
Yeah, sure.
We can talk about the cast of the show. So.
I love the cast. I thought the characters. I can't think of a character I didn't like. As an interesting character, I really liked Michael Burnham. She was great. I thought Lorca was. I'm sad that Lorca. Spoilers.
Spoilers. The prime Lorca is toast, but we still don't know about. Did you see that Jason Isaacs started a Twitter campaign?
No.
Which is like find.
not Prime.
Not prime Lorca, but.
No, Prime Lorca is missing in action.
Yeah.
Prime is the real one.
Mirror Lorca.
Mirror Lorca is
It's justice for Prime Lorca.
I'm hoping that Prime Lorca emerges from somewhere, like he actually comes back. I like the actor a lot, and I like the character a lot. I was a little sad that it turned out that he was from their universe. I think having a complex, dark Lorca as the captain, that's interesting. I was interested by that. I recognize it was a sacrifice for the greater story, but I would have been happy if sort of Dark Lorca would have stuck around.
In fact, remember we had theories that what if this is the Dark Universe?
Yeah,
because we knew, like we knew from Scuttlebutt that they were going to go to the Prime to the Mirror Universe, and it's like what if they flip it over? And because everyone was complaining, so a lot of the hardcore fans, the purists or whatever, were like, this is not Star Trek, it's not canon, it doesn't look like original Star Trek.
Yeah, this is not 1960 again.
Yeah, like Red Letter Media said, the original Star Trek doesn't look like the future anymore, so you gotta make allowances, I mean, we're gonna have holograms in the next few years, so you can have holographic communication, and it makes it easier for the actors to act, and it makes it easier to tell the story. That's why transporters exist, by the way, because they couldn't afford to have the characters
take a shuttle,
be in a shuttle all the time. It was just easier to make them appear and disappear right on the set, and so that was an expediency thing in the original series, and it works. So
I thought it was a really good decision. Like I didn't want them to kind of try to recreate original Trek. Original Trek, when you go back and look at it, doesn't look that great anymore.
That's right.
It's only good in your memory.
It's Desilu Studios.
So so at the very end, when the final episode where Enterprise shows up, and it's the Enterprise from the movies with the new engine nacelles.
It's right. It looks it's a mishmash, right? So to me that was confirmation that this is not the same universe. It's a slightly different universe.
I think it's just they
just redesigned it, and
I think it's just redesigned. They're like the old Star Trek look, the original series with the old engine nacelles looks kind of clunky. So no, make it kind of glowy.
And honestly, who cares? Like, you take a picture of a 1932 car, it looks like a black and white picture, it doesn't look good. You take the same car today, it looks better, because the pictures, I'm okay with the fact that it doesn't look the same, because it's the story that's important. And the visual, they have to follow.
Yeah, so they're going to have holograms on the...
So let's talk about retconning then, instead of doing first and go boldly. So because you can argue that a lot of this stuff is retconning or changing because the ships don't look the same. Biggest change is that the Klingons don't look the same. I mean,
that's what could be used to.
That's one of the things that I like the least is they made them very, very extreme looking to the point where the actors had trouble moving and talking, and it just seemed kind of weird that this race of warlike beings couldn't turn their heads. And you can sort of see as the show went on that the Klingons were able to talk better, like they must have changed their removed prosthetics or whatever, and made their costumes easier to move in. A lot of people talk about staying on retconning. So
I wonder if they might have done that to better hide Ash Tyler plot.
The Klingon fusion thing. Yeah.
Like if it had just been that guy with the thing on his forehead and some dark makeup, you would have been like, oh,
Yeah.
No, dark, not dark, white makeup.
Oh yeah, white makeup. Sorry, yeah. Right. But you were like, I know who that guy is. They had to cover him in prosthetics, so that you couldn't recognize him.
Because one thing people forget is that the Klingons, by the end of Star Trek, looked like
You look pretty much close to that.
they were too clean. Everything was too clean. Everything was just, the Klingons themselves just looked like actors that had things stuck to their forehead.
Sorry,
right?
by the end of Star Trek.
Well, by the Next Generation, as the shows progressed, you had more and more Klingons appearing and being main characters, and they just looked like dudes and women with stuff stuck onto their foreheads. So these Klingons are much more different looking, and they hired actors that are really tall, and and that had different ways of speaking. So I think it's pretty cool. And it's very cool that they actually hid Tyler's. That they hid that he was Vok.
So
because he used a different name in the credits in the original.
I have a confession to make though.
Oh, you knew it.
I made the mistake of reading on the Star Trek subreddit, and by like episode 3 or something, somebody went, hey, did you notice this weird thing about the credits? And like, oh, the conspiracy. I'm like, oh, geez, now I know. You can't unlearn this information. Like, so all the way through, you're like, I know exactly what's going on. Yeah, and.
He must have thought we were such fools, because you were like, he's an agent, he's a sleeper agent. He kept saying that.
I was just
hoping, like, whatever.
I was kind of hoping I was wrong, but some of the Reddit people were wrong, but they were never wrong.
Honestly, it's even if we didn't know, the fact that Vought at the end of episode 3, Norella takes him and says, "You're going to have to sacrifice everything."
Yeah.
And then Ash Tyler shows up the next episode. I just like that point was I'm not 2 for 2 is. Fortuitous?
Yeah. Or coincidental?
Coincidental, yeah.
Yeah.
And already I had doubts at that point that there's something there. Because Vought was so much of an important character to lose.
Yeah, you wonder, like, where'd that guy go?
Okay, I know they were wasting...
So let's come back to that, because I just want to go back to retconning in canon. So obviously, they changed a lot, and I think that Don has commented about how the dialect of the Klingons is different. I don't know enough Klingon to... I know they're pronouncing it very differently, which is very cool. Because it was much softer and mushier. It was almost like Mandarin compared to Cantonese.
Mm-hmm.
Cantonese is more chopped,
analogy,
whereas Mandarin is more a softer, more yeah. Of course, I don't know those languages. But still, talking about retconning in canon, so they have to change stuff. You can't keep making stuff like it was in the '60s, And of course, they always change. It's like in 10 years, the uniforms won't be the same. Whatever. It's fine.
Anyway, you were close to 10 years ago.
Yeah. One thing that kind of bugs me is that the Federation ships all still look like Federation ships. Like you could recognize anytime you'd see one, it had the saucer and the tuna cells and whatever.
Oh, but they have to do that.
No.
Whereas the Klingon ships don't look like Klingon ships. Like they totally broke with the design of the original ship. Like no D6s, no D7s, no birds of prey. Oh, they were all sort of like little birds of prey.
There were some birds of prey
and big lumpy looking cruisers that look like very lumpy and odd shaped.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder about that design aesthetic, but and you're always hoping that this was like pre Kirk, and that after the war the Klingons were going to change, and so maybe you could say that 10 years later maybe the Klingon ships all look like they did originally.
It might do that.
But you got to also understand is that I think they kind of mentioned that Klingon is a culture that loses technology and regains technology, because you got to think the coffin ship was very old technology, and the cloaking had been lost to most of the houses at that point. And by the fact that Vought and Tukumva gets killed and L'Oreal lose control, they take the ship back and then they bring cloaking technology to everything.
Right. Well,
So
I think in canon the Romulans gave the cloaking devices to the Klingons, like in canon. So again, you could say it's breaking canon, or they're just right. They're using freedom to write stuff, which is fine. So, but the biggest thing that goes against canon is the whole mycelial network. Yeah. The whole mycelial, the whole universe is connected by this force of mushrooms, and it seems like a really huge technology that never gets mentioned again in any other Star Trek show.
But it does.
Everybody forgets, like, are they going to stop using it, or are they going to have are they going to continue that story to explain why they stopped using it?
I think they've already started. They can't use it safely.
Yeah, but does that kind of, so they can't use it safely because they don't have human conduits that can do it. But they can solve that shit pretty quick. I think it's going to turn in. It would be really cool if it turned into something like the Traveler, because the Traveler does all of that, traveling through time and space and time and bending space, and so Will Wheaton could come back. I said it here.
That'd be cool. I would like that.
Will Wheaton could have a guest appearance as the Traveler. It'd be great.
But
You know?
I agree that the mycelial network thing is problematic because it's such a huge technology that you figure that in all the later series, Next Generation, whatever, this would be a known thing.
There is no mention of it
No,
whatsoever
well,
because
no,
they wrote it after that.
But then again, the whole time war and that is in an Enterprise, it's never kind of mentioned. It could be kind of top secret stuff, really top secret stuff. What is it? Or the group that they talk in Deep Space Nine,
Section something.
Section 13 or something like
Yeah.
that, which is kind of like this top secret that you only hear about, like Men in Blacks or anything like that.
Mhm.
So it could be possible that this whole ship is classified still. We don't know that.
We just don't know.
It's true. You might be able to explain it the way that way.
I had something else I was going to mention about canon, but I forget now.
It's meant to be broken.
It's fine. Yeah, I guess it's meant. Yeah. So
As long as at the end it gets explained.
yeah, so it's not hanging out there like an unripe fruit. Anyway,
Yeah.
so for those of you joining lately, we were talking about how the whole mushroom network, how are they going to do away with that
Because
so that it's never used?
yeah.
So Patriarche says it's used, but so disastrous that it never gets used again.
Well, that's what
Are
I'm
you
saying.
kidding? But that speaks to Michael Burnham basically dressing down the admiral and saying this is not what the Federation's about. Straighten up and fly right. So maybe they straightened up and fly right and just stopped using the mushroom network. But then
It's so against human nature.
yeah.
But that's not how people work. Once you discover an atom bomb,
Yeah.
people start building
I
atom
was
bombs.
gonna say someone's gonna want to use that stuff, man, and so.
Well,
Yeah.
it all depends if it's known or not right now.
Yeah, if they can keep the secret.
All right, so let's go back to Go Boldly and First, and I can talk about the first is, why did they name a main character after a living scientist? So Paul Stamets is a real guy who does mushroom.
Yeah.
They
Really?
interviewed him on After Trek, and he's just this weird, crazy guy who seems to be on mushrooms. He's like a real eccentric character
Like,
who wrote a book.
when
And I
you
guess
say-
one of the writers of Star Trek thought this is a cool guy, and let's name a character after him.
You mean shrooms?
He's a guy who researches, who researches fungi and all this stuff.
Oh, just regular fungus. Not,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a chemical shroom guy. Anyway, so that's kind of weird. It's just,
It's a bit odd.
it's like they have a weird writer's room
Yeah.
where they write some weird stories, and so
Well,
the stories are pretty weird.
You
so.
kind of get this feeling, and this goes along with the Go Boldly First theme, that because they were shuffled off on
Where they write some weird stories, and so
well,
the stories are pretty weird.
you kind of get this feeling, and this goes along with the Go Boldly First theme, that because they were shuffled off onto CBS All Access, they're like, screw it, we're gonna have some nudity, we're gonna
F-bombs,
bit of swearing,
yeah.
we're gonna do some crazy stuff, we're gonna name characters after real people. Like, this is never gonna go anywhere. They said to themselves, we
And
might as well
also,
just
yeah.
do things.
Well, like Michael Burnham, right? They named her Michael Burnham. They
Yeah.
never really explain why.
Yeah.
At first, I thought, is it because she's transgender? I don't know. I don't think the actress is transgender, so or
don't
if she
think
is,
so.
no one knows. And she's been in 2 other TV series.
But you know what?
You know.
In French, Michael has a feminine form.
Michael.
Michel.
Yeah. Oh, Michel. Yeah, Michel.
The Beatles wrote a song about it.
That's right.
Michel Maybell. Yeah.
So-
I thought it was about Mike. Okay. Anyway, it's true. So let's talk about the first on the show. So
Yeah.
this was the first Star Trek that had an openly gay couple.
Yep.
Male gay couple. I mean, there's other.
And
I mean, other TV shows have done
not
this before,
not just a male gay couple as like a beautiful male gay couple.
I like that it was and they were functional. Like
Yes.
they didn't seem like placeholder couple.
Yeah.
They felt like we saw them brushing their teeth together.
Yeah.
We saw them having nice conversations
Yeah,
together.
and the actors were together talking about that scene.
Yeah.
They're like, boy, you know it's love when you're willing to, brush your teeth
Yeah.
next to your lover with your Starfleet pajamas on. So yeah.
But I think that came through also. I know the actor who plays Stamets is homosexual, but is the other actor also?
I think there were a couple of
They're a couple in real life.
Okay, well then, no, that explains it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
So I thought that
So Anthony
was,
Rapp is actually, he was in Rent. That's what he's known for. So
Okay.
he's
so
he's a representative of that community.
So to me, that was a first. Like that, they portrayed a sort of loving, normal, functional gay couple just living their lives together.
And it wasn't a plot device.
No.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, look, see, we got gay people. It's
Yeah.
just.
It's no service.
yeah.
It was not for service. It made perfect sense in their story, and it translated on the screen as something beautiful to be seen. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that one of them was going to be a fatality. You know, one of the many fatalities in the show. Like, you know, I think in the show there was a whole bunch of cool characters, and they kept.
It was shocking.
They kept on killing.
Like,
I know.
It's like when he gets killed. You know, I was like, no! Oh my god!
You hear
Yeah.
the kind
So
of
like,
crack, and you're like,
oh yeah.
could he come back next show? Maybe it was a sprain.
He lives in the mycelial network now. Now we do know that people can.
He's one with the Force.
He's
yeah.
one for the
He could
Force.
come
in the
back.
Star Trek way.
They're just letting us down gently.
He's totally dead.
But then,
He's so dead.
But then, yeah, he's so dead. But he helps. Like he comes back and guides Steinmetz through coming back from the mirror universe, and then
Yeah.
actually, no, he doesn't help him navigating into the.
So he helps him get out. He helps him get out of the coma. So yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So,
Yeah. So, what else about going boldly? I mean, Michael Burnham is a pretty bold main character, right? Because
Yep.
she's not a captain. She's not the captain. Star Trek's always
But-
had
but then again-
lead the captain as the main character. Right?
Sure.
then again, also that going boldly, showing people their flaws, literally.
Oh, and she's super flawed, right? I mean, even though and she's flawed in a way that, you know, she's Vulcan, she's logical, and logic dictated that she, you know, knock out her captain to attack the Klingons. And I like the way she
Yeah.
comes full circle at the very end of the show to say, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because that was not, and her captain was right. The Federation doesn't open fire first. That's just not what we do.
And it's something that was kind of
We don't
lost
blow up their
because
homeworlds.
the only time you hear of something like that, kind of that flawed character, is Kirk with the. No, I forgot it.
In Star Trek 5? I need a pain.
No. The what's that training exercise that everybody fails?
Kobayashi Maru.
And he cheats, which is about the only time when you hear unethical behavior from a Starfleet officer.
It's like when we played Star Trek Panic. A friend of mine played, and it's like, oh, we lost, you know. And I posted on Facebook, you know, we played twice and we won. We don't believe in the no-win scenario. And nobody challenged me on that because I was going to say, yeah, we cheated like Kirk. The great thing about co-op games is you can cheat like crazy and still win and still feel good. You know, so,
Absolutely.
well,
But I didn't.
So what other firsts do we have? So anyway,
Well,
Michael Burnham,
well,
very flawed character, but
but
very
she
interesting.
having the main character be not the captain, but having the main character be a black female is like put the two together it's pretty bold, right? And especially because you know traditionally the captains have been white males, and the Star Treks that haven't done as well, like Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, Mrs. Colombo and Cisco.
They broke from the strong white male.
No.
I feel that in Voyager that Captain, what's her name?
Jane.
Captain
Janeway.
Janeway she was one of the best characters on that show.
I like Janeway.
She was strong and she was a really good character. It wasn't because of her that I didn't like the show. So
yeah, I thought she
Cisco
was
great too. So.
She was a convincing captain.
But then,
I believed that she was a captain.
Yeah, but you see, this is even more than that. Is that if you look at a whole cast, there's nobody that comes out as kind of the role of the traditional Starfleet captain.
Right.
Everybody's kind of not in their place. Everybody's learning.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that seems to be in his place is Lorca, and he's still not in his place because he has to learn how to be a prime universe captain.
To not be too evil. Yeah.
So it shows through that he's like everybody was saying, "Oh, this is not correct. That's not." Well, he was not, but he was doing a fine, good job of not looking that bad of a mirror universe.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, continuing on. So other Go Boldly firsts was what's her name? Michelle Yeoh. Was she the first Asian, captain, and also killed off in the first two episodes? Did you guys would you guys have rather seen the adventures of the Senju and
Yeah, I was pretty surprised when they killed her off and destroyed the ship. That was shocking.
Because they sort of did 7 years. Burnham serves for 7 years on the Senju, and kind of like the amount of time that Riker spent with Picard, right?
Yeah.
Where they spent 7 seasons developing that relationship, whereas they sort of like go over it, and then she does the nerve pinch thing, and then Captain gets killed, and she.
But in hindsight, doesn't that pilot looks more interesting and better in hindsight than when we watched it first?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
It does.
It like fine wine, it aged very well with the season.
Because now you know why.
And that's another first, right? Whereas they lost a lot of fans. A lot of the purists, a lot of the other, the hardcore fans were like, I'm not going to watch this because Lorca's not a real. He doesn't have the beliefs in
That makes the
Starfleet.
payoff even better. When you watch it through, you go and then in the end you see like this is genius. Like honestly, wait for like anticipating Sunday night to watch a season. I haven't been anticipating a show on Sunday night since.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, are there any other firsts that we want to talk about?
Sure. Well, I'll say Saru as a character, as a captain. Like having an alien as the captain of the Enterprise, of an Enterprise type ship. They've never done that before. Like the aliens are always supporting characters, and Saru's a great character. I like the actor. I really like the character.
Yeah, Doug Jones is great.
He's super interesting.
Guy. Yeah.
Like as the a race that's prey, and somehow they've transcended that.
But oh my God, the mirror universe with the Kelpians being like the food of the rich is fucking horrifying. Oh my God.
So, but then again,
so cannibalism will.
Characters growing very fast because they're out of their comfort zone. This is, I don't know if it's a first, but it played very well with this series. The aesthetics, the everything like that.
It seemed weird that Saru was first officer in the Senju for 7 years.
Yeah.
No, he was science officer.
Oh, is he? Okay, he was science officer for 7 years?
Officer.
He became first officer only on Discovery?
Yeah, because he would,
Okay. All right. Anyway, so any other firsts? We had like, well, I could say that the entire cast is very interesting. Unlike a lot of other network TV shows, they're not all super buff, hyper beautiful, unrealistic looking people. Like if you look like shows like Arrow or Supergirl or any of these other network shows or all the lawyer shows, right? These people, they don't look like human beings.
No,
they're just
too good looking. Like actors playing lawyers.
Yeah. Whereas in this show, they're all, a lot of these characters are super attractive, but not in a conventional sense. Ensign Tilly is a
poor Tilly.
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl, but she's certainly not a size 0 or anything like that.
Yeah, she's not size 0. She's shaped like normal women.
She looks like
but also there's a whole fact that you do have main characters and a crew of supporting characters that are recurring.
Except for Dr. Hugh, he's too beautiful.
No, but what I mean here is that the whole Mud says it. You unknown communication guy, like he calls it out.
that was awesome.
They really took their sweet time giving us access to the bridge crew.
Yeah.
And in the final episode, you saw the bridge crew all having speaking parts and stuff.
I like
people complained that the bridge crew were non-characters, but I think they just build them up slowly, and I think they realized that in 13 episodes,
you don't have time.
You don't want to give the bridge crew too much time because your main characters need those 13 episodes.
Isn't it the first time the bridge crew is so huge? Like there's the Discovery bridge crew is huge. Like there's science officer, there's tactical, there's comm.
Yeah.
There's like.
Well, but they're not main characters in the original series. They're always main characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So yeah.
I think that I was thinking about the bridge crew. I think it's that they have a deep bench. I don't know if this was planned that way, but I think that thinking ahead to future seasons, we're going to become familiar with the robot girl and the
cyborg girl,
the black dude who's a communications officer.
That's right.
He's like male Uhura.
Actually, I was gonna say he's the one guy. I'm like, I don't know. He's running a communications guy.
There's like opening hailing frequencies.
There's the black woman who's the on the helm or something, and there's a few recognizable crew members who've had a few lines. And I was thinking that the payoff's going to be in season 2 or season 3, where we're going to get an arc where suddenly they come into their own, and it'll be really great because we'll have known them for 2 years, and then suddenly we're going to get the backstory behind the robot girl. Like, what's up with her? And you're going to find out, kind of like Barclay in the Next Generation.
Okay, Mr. Broccoli. Well done, Mr. Broccoli. Okay, let's switch to another topic. Format.
Sure.
Because we can talk about how the cast of this TV show seemed like a real cast of. Like a company of actors, and if you watch After Trek, which you really should, because you get a lot of information about that. Yeah. It's kind of like they never say anything bad, but I mean still, you get the impression that the writers and the actors all talk to each other. Even Jonathan Frakes, who directed one of the episodes, when they asked him a question, he was like, "Yeah, we didn't talk to the writers like you guys do." In Next Generation or whatever, we just got told this is the episode, and some episodes were terrible or whatever. and there wasn't that two-way communication. Whereas with this cast of characters, and they all love each other and they hang out together. And
Let's just put it this way: 13 episode. There is not one bad episode.
No, there's not one. No, that's right. And I mean that's the format. So talk about the format. I felt 13 episodes. They could have used a couple more episodes some of the time flow, like especially early in the season, where Laurel goes from being like a secondary character on the bridge of the coffin ship. Suddenly she's in command of a prison ship, and she's doing operations and it's like, was she already commander of a prison ship? Like that, and then the bit where she's with Vok and saying, I have a plan, Vok, we're going to do something really different, and then you don't see her for one episode, and then suddenly, I thought that Ash time, and suddenly Ash shows up, and you were like, Ash is a deep agent, and you were like, oh god, no, Reddit. Anyway, the format of just 13 episodes, telling a straight story, is pretty cool.
No filler.
And there was no filler. And
no binge watching.
Well, I mean, like the Harry Mudd episode with the time loop it didn't feel like filler. But it was a really great episode. Yes. But it didn't advance the story.
It advanced the Ash and Michael Burnham.
That's true.
That's the first time they actually start interacting.
That's true. Because they dance together and they kiss.
Yeah. That story's pivotal for that whole relation.
But do the characters remember it after?
Yeah, they do. Because that's how they get out of it.
Okay.
They start remembering stuff and they get out of it.
And there's a payoff, and there's the space whale, right? Which pays off in the final episode when Tilly is eating the meat popsicles. She's like, "This is delicious." He's like, "That's a whale."
You know what? I didn't make that connection.
It's a gormagander. She's like,
she spat it out, and I'm like, why would you do that?
And I replayed that moment over and over again, and she doesn't say words. She just kind of goes,
almost equivalent to Tom Hanks in Big when he spits up the
beluga.
The beluga.
And I have to say, Mary Wiseman, I think she's my favorite actress / character. She's Cadet Tilly.
She's Tilly, yeah.
She's so funny. Like her comedic chops are off. Like anyway.
And she plays like the uncomfortable, geeky girl, intelligent.
Which since Reginald Barkley you have not seen in Star Trek. Yeah. Right? Well, maybe Harry Kim in Voyager was like the wide-eyed youth, right?
Yeah.
But even then, he wasn't.
Tilly grew on me. I
didn't like her at first. Like the scene where she meets Michael Burnham is brilliant. She's like, "Oh, I'm allergic to polyester." Like it's just like, "Oh God, the nightmare roommate."
I felt that they were trying too hard. I felt that she was too exaggerated at the beginning.
Could be.
But what actually I like her a lot now, and what actually made me like her a lot was the Mirror Universe.
Captain Killy.
It's like, okay, actually
in the tight pants.
Well, and then so she steps up and she plays that character. Like, okay, no, actually she's a cool character.
Yeah. When she was thrust into the role, as Captain Killy, and she was like, "Hold yours,"
But then again, you remember in the last episode? She's on the Klingon planet, and she's the one playing the tough security. And she points a gun. You don't breathe out of the back of your head, like.
No, and then she takes the drugs and passes out. And, That's pretty good. All right, so we're 39 minutes in. So Data wasn't Data supposed to be? Oh, what's with the android navigator? What is she? She's not.
We don't know yet.
No, I think she's a dead mouse. She's one of those robot head.
So we have a name thanks to IMDb. Her name is Arium.
She's probably a cyborg. She's probably not a.
I think cyborg. Yeah, well, I don't think she'll be an android because androids that has to happen in the future.
That's probably a Men in Black. Data. Like her head's going to open up and there'd be like a little person inside.
I think cyborg, like mostly.
Definitely, she can't be
biological.
Definitely, she can't be like an actual robot droid because
that's Data.
They're breaking canon all over the place. So.
No, but that's Data's thing. They can't redo Data.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll probably find more about area in season 2 or 3.
Yeah, could be. All right. Well, so that's sort of format. So Etienne, you really like not binging the show.
Oh, I loved it.
And I have to say that I didn't love it because I wanted to see more, but I ended up watching each episode like 3 times.
So you got to invent your own binge.
Well, so that what happens when you binge a show is that it comes out and you binge it all weekend, and then you fall asleep during episodes, and you miss things, you forget things,
and you don't have time to discuss
and it's a compressed experience, right? And you can't discuss it with your friends.
discuss it.
Yeah,
like we're doing now.
Until everybody's got to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Monday.
Yeah, that's until everybody got to the end. Yeah.
Every Monday we would sit here and basically just talk about the show, or the next Monday.
Yeah.
I could talk about it on Monday, but not you. So I was very careful with that.
Yeah. So on Crave TV, the show would air the day after it aired on Space. So we would always have to have a 24-hour décalage.
Yeah, but like honestly, we could talk about it and we discuss, and we would like. It's just it makes for a more fulfilling experience.
It's a social thing.
It's a social thing,
really
exactly.
Like it. Yeah.
Without the social media, because we would meet face to face and talk about it. Like, I don't care about discussing on social media the qualities of a show. I like to sit in front of people and just interact and see your reaction and talk about, oh, this is cool there, and there's a lot more fast linking that way.
And you can start speculating what's going on, and
and then you watch After Track, and you get the gems, and you see next week's episode preview, and then you hear the actors talking.
By contrast, I finished watching Altered Carbon. And maybe you guys have, or maybe you haven't.
I did.
We'll wait till you have. We'll have a half an hour discussion about that. Then we'll be done.
Yeah.
Whereas Star Trek is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, we must have spent 13 hours talking about it.
Yeah.
Overall,
could be.
And here we're adding still again to it.
Yeah, and I like watching the episode and then having a week to kind of think about it and enjoy being in that universe and it's a much more fulfilling experience.
So note to TV producers, don't generate everything in one fell swoop. Let it age.
Yeah,
forget that.
Options are great.
All right, so that was the format, no binging. Okay, so let's go to F-bombs and titties. So and this it's baffling. Why would they drop one F-bomb in the middle of one episode, and it just is bizarre.
I did not like that.
French Canadian don't care.
I don't swearing is fun.
No,
fun.
Language in French show they swear all the time. Nudity has been there, so it's nothing new.
Well, it's like the British too, right? They'll say cock and twat and all this stuff, and it doesn't have the same. Whereas in America with the puritanical,
it doesn't. The language doesn't bother me. What bugged me was the fact that it felt very gratuitous, and very targeted for that one episode, and then never comes back again.
Yeah,
if they were constantly swearing, I'd be like, okay, I guess that's what it's like in this Navy at this time. Or this Navy.
Swearing.
But I didn't. Also with the nudity, I'm okay with nudity and things. I watched Game of Thrones.
Leathery Klingon boobs. It wasn't nudity.
Game of Thrones is all swearing and nudity.
You wanted to see Captain Killy nude.
For that matter, swearing and nudity in Battlestar Galactica, they had nudity in the Plan, the movie that came out at the very end, where he revisited everything from the silent point of view, and that was totally fine because that makes sense in that universe. But that's not Star Trek. I'm not a prude about these things. It's just not Star Trek.
Yeah. Anyway, it just felt out of place, and they were just doing it.
You know what they should have done? If they really wanted to be edgy and do that, they should have done it in the Mirror Universe.
Oh yeah,
Go to the Mirror Universe. Everybody's just fucking this and fucking that.
Well, they are
people walking out, topless people, and now you know you're in the Mirror Universe.
Philippa, basically, when they go into the Klingon War, she grabs two Orions and she
has.
And the Orion says, the Orion says, we should pay you.
That was cool. That was a nice moment.
Georgiou, that's great. All right, so there was just a quick aside on F-bombs and titties, and it was
I think that I kind of feel like they've experimented with that. They did it because they could, and now it's done.
Yeah, if you're not going to be using it a lot, why are you doing that? It's just kind of weird. Okay, character death. So as far as I know, the only character that ever got killed in Star Trek TV shows,
apart from Red Shirts,
was Tasha Yar, the main character.
Tasha
Yar got killed.
Yeah,
anyone else
Tasha
ever got
the
killed?
only one I can think of.
Weasley Crusher got thrown out. Well, he essentially got thrown down an elevator shaft when they turned him into a traveler.
Spock died.
He died in the movies. He didn't die in the TV show. Yeah. And then he came back from death.
Came back.
I know.
Kirk died.
But but at the end of Star Trek 2, when he dies,
it's poignant. Yeah.
Yeah, you cry, and then you bring back
But there's a difference between those ones where it's a moment, whereas with in Discovery, it's just like one after the other. This is Game of Track. Right?
Game of Track.
You cannot. No main character is safe.
Well, Captain Georgiou gets a stab in the heart.
And then she gets eaten. That's the most horrifying
when you
thing.
talk about, did you not eat the Federation captain? It's like, oh god.
They keep
Not
on.
horrifying.
The worst part about it is they keep on talking about how delicious she was. Like, oh god,
Chinese food.
Jesus.
Just eat her, and then we were hungry right afterwards. I don't understand why.
But you know, you definitely get set up right in the beginning. I guess Captain George, you're like, okay, you're like, oh, that was a bit surprising. But then the security officer.
No, that was.
It was kind of not well written. She
It
basically just killed herself.
It was kind of a dumb death. But at the same time, you set aside the dumb death.
But they were
like,
making space for Ash to come in. But I mean, presumably they had written their show ahead of time. Like she's just a great actress, and why?
Yeah,
and she dies twice.
Yeah. I was really disappointed because I like Tori from Battlestar Galactica. I really like that actress. She's a cool actor and with a nice, interesting character. But it was, I think it was important to set the tone for the show. This is Game of Trek.
People are going to die.
People are going to die, and you don't know who they're going to be. And so when the doctor dies, you're like, okay.
That was horrifying.
No, but that one was completely unexpected. You knew when the what's her name, the security agent opens up the tardigrade door that she's going to lose it because
I didn't know she was going to die.
Oh my god, that beast basically ripped apart her whole ship before, so you can't just go in.
That's
there.
true. Yeah, you're right. They found the thing on the ship. Yeah. But I did. It's more like he certainly could kill things. It could kill things. I didn't believe they would kill main characters yet, and she seemed like a main character.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because she was so she was super not super in love with Captain Lorca, but she was willing to do anything for him, anything.
Yeah.
At one point, he's like, "You should leave now," because Anyway, so that was kind of weird, and she felt like she was his creature, almost like in
this
mirror universe, the
Mm-hmm.
mirror universe.
Well, it is his creature. Remember his reading room where you had the Gorn and the Tribble, the only non-fertile Tribble in the universe.
That's true. Yeah, well, as long as you don't feed it, it's fine. All right, so that was character death. Let's talk about special effects. So, I feel the show had a low budget for special effects.
But that
I don't know if it's because I was streaming and
no. Honestly,
the graphics weren't so. But every space scene outside the ship was always dark. They were always like concealing things. They were not.
Space is dark.
And they did. Well, I know space is dark, but Star Trek has always had beautifully lit beauty shots of ships meeting face to face, and all that sort of thing. And you rarely got external establishing shots of ships meeting. You rarely got to see the ships. Except very quickly. In fact, you never got a beauty shot of Discovery until the final episode, when she's racing towards, when she's in warp speed and the camera pans over the, you never got a close up or anything like that. Which it just seems like it's an odd design consideration that they would, change it to the point where, and it wasn't like in Firefly where you had sort of the jittery handheld feeling. You still could see what the ships looked like, like in Serenity or Firefly or that type of show. Whereas in this Trek show, it's always very dark and very and the ships were lit by their own lights, and it's so.
I kind of like the aesthetics. I kind of like it. Like, just remember, like, was it episode 3 where it starts over a pan of the movie, and then you see in one of the galley that goes around, you see Tilly and Michael running with the disco shirts.
Yeah, they sort of zoom in onto the ship.
Yeah. So you do have those, and those are you might not be as big or as expansive, but I kind of like, it's almost like the teaser burlesque where you just see enough to tease you.
Yeah, I thought it was a different. I agree. I'd say it felt to me more like a different aesthetic.
Yeah, well, like for example, when they first arrive in the mirror universe, there's like, oh, a ship is warping in. They're hailing us. Yeah. It's the USS so and so, and then they have like the banter, and they never actually show you the ship. You never see it. They don't put it on screen. You don't see the ships flying around. You just don't see it. You don't even know what it looks like. The USS whatever that was.
It wasn't a showstopper for me. It wasn't at all.
I thought the effects, like with the holographic effects, everything were actually really good. The disintegrating people was.
The disintegrating people I thought was weak because they were always disintegrating. Like the guy, when the Harry Mudd episode where you made him eat the thing that made you disintegrate, and the guy would go, ah, it was Lorca, ah, and he disintegrates from the head out, but then his hands are still there.
Oh,
with
yeah.
his hands folded around, like it's just and it was the same thing when they were every time somebody was disintegrated, you could tell they were just being digitally erased. Like the head wasn't falling off of the body that was gone, or
That didn't bug me. I just figured that's what phaser disintegration looks like.
You're just being
First you
very
become
geek.
weightless.
no, well the Klingon disruptors are cool, where you would just be liquefied.
That's
yes, that was pretty
so
gross.
horrifying.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, why didn't he kill Laurel? Oh, he wasn't allowed to. So yeah, remember when he shot Laurel? When in the episode where they escape from the prison ship, Tyler shoots. Was it Tyler that shoots Laurel? Or he sees her and can't shoot her.
Is it that?
And she gets burned in the face from a near hit.
Oh
yeah.
So I think the outdoor aesthetic was like, it makes me think of Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica, I remember for like episode after episode after episode,
Very grungy.
Being like a Navy nerd, I'm like, I want to see the ship, and they never showed you the ship. They only ever showed you bits and pieces. And I was, what does this ship look like?
The Galactica.
The Galactica.
You see it all the time, don't you?
Later on,
okay.
but for early on, they would only show you. It would be dark. You'd see it kind of backlit, and you're like, "Come on, show me the ship! I'm a nerd. I want to see the ship." And you never saw the full ship in all its glory for
I have
a long
really
time.
good memories of the special effects of Battlestar.
And
that's the best looking TV
and the
space
jittery
TV show.
camera moving around, zooming in on
Yeah,
things. You're like,
yeah.
"Show me the ship! Come on, you're killing me here."
And the Vipers. No, I thought the visual aesthetic in Battlestar Galactica was brilliant.
Yeah, it was
and
really
beautiful.
good.
Whereas I find in this show it's not as brilliant, but
Then again,
But
it's more of a talkie show, I guess. It's
Although a cool thing they did, which I really liked, was that not everything happens on a plane. You know, when ships warp in, they kind of warp in at like weird angles.
well,
And,
they definitely show that in the 172 jump sequence.
where they're like
Where basically now it's not like it's coming from. That's how they basically find it.
And the big ship battle at the beginning. The ships are warping in, and they're like, at
In
funny
all
angles, and
directions,
that was really good.
And you know what's cool about this?
That was cool when the admiral's flagship gets rammed by the Klingon ship, the invisible Klingon ship that freaking cuts it in half. That was cool.
Yeah, it's a lot better than jumping into the Emperor's Smoke ship.
But that was so anime. Anyway, okay. So anything else for special effects?
No, just the costume, the makeup.
Great makeup effects. For Saru. Yeah.
Saru's makeup is incredible. How the actor can emote so well through that suit.
Yeah, well, Doug Jones is known for that. So okay, so we're in 53 minutes in. So I'd like to have it finished within the next 7 minutes. So we want to talk about dumb characters making dumb choices.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's nice. It's like real life. We are all dumb characters.
Well, you feel that they're flawed, right? They make mistakes
Yeah.
and they do things that are.
I know that on the subreddit, there's a lot of people that are irritated by this. It didn't bother me at all.
No, I
Because it
actually
makes it
relate
real
more to it right
But do
now.
you have any
because-
examples? I can't think of any.
Yeah, really? Like neck pinching your captain and
Yeah, look right at the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
You're
okay.
like, what?
opening up the tardigrade and trying to beat it. Like no.
Yeah, okay,
It's
that was-
dumb decision after dumb decisions.
Yeah.
Getting yourself impaled by the device so you can prove you can actually jump the ship.
Oh yeah, okay. So
He injects
Stamets basically
injects himself with the DNA, then has himself stabbed until he figures out that he can actually put ports on his hand.
Well, that's his husband basically does that for him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's true. It's all true. Yeah. All right. So why don't we go to the final? The final topic would be the big gamble. So so the end of this show was a huge secret. Well, I mean, all of it was a huge secret, right? And I think they alienated a lot of, assholes. No, fans.
Super
purists, super
Yeah,
fans,
no.
canon lovers.
No,
Yeah.
people that want their life to be always the same, that cannot fathom that they don't own everything. I like a story that moves me. I like to be severely pushed. If they're going to rehash the Next Generation again, I'm not interested. I've seen it and I'm done.
Well, that's right. The Alien of the Week format is gone forever, and we're not telling stories like that anymore, right? So
I will not watch episodic TV. Like, I'm so done with that. Like, I want to have a long story arc, a la Game of Thrones, a la Battlestar Galactica.
yeah. No, I like the 13 episodes. It's pretty good. It's good. So the big gamble was, spoilers. That Lorca was from the other universe, and so that's why he wasn't behaving like the Federation guy.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the Federation wasn't behaving like the Federation because it wasn't Kirk's Federation yet.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
And so they were willing to nuke the Klingon homeworld to save themselves.
Yep.
you know, and
it's
it took a strong character to tell the admiral, what the fuck is wrong with you?
But
This
it's
is
kind of
not-
funny
this is not
because
how we are.
it's even a step
Yeah.
back because Enterprise, they're already founding that they don't sacrifice their ethics, even hard pressed against the wall. When Archer goes to that fifth quarter there, where that auto being are taking over, and that's the one that are producing all these Zinti interface. They've just lost 5 million people when the Zinti sheet, and they don't.
When the Florida gets zapped by the
Yeah.
thing.
So they've already said that. So that was kind of a nice loss. We've lost our ways, and Markle brings them back.
Yeah. Patrick says, "Who will play Spock?"
I don't think he'll be there.
I
think
really,
he
I
might
really,
be-
I really hope it's not going to be what's his name from the.
I really don't want to see him in
reboot movies,
Discovery.
because I feel that that's a different
I think,
universe.
I think that they're dangling a little bit of candy in front of us, and I'm hoping that they'll have
The Enterprise will just fly
well,
away
actually,
and we
there'll
won't
be
see anyone.
they'll,
Yeah.
Captain Pike will show up as a holograph. They'll have a talk.
You see a Vulcan in the
Yeah.
background.
They're just giving us a bit of candy.
Yeah, and Berman says, "Hey, brother," and then Spock says, "Hey, sister."
I really don't want to rehash old characters.
No.
Yeah.
Like Spock is Spock, and having some other dude playing Spock. I mean, it was,
But on Reddit, they're talking about how the showrunners are saying they're going to explain why Spock never mentions his foster sister. So
okay. Oh no, so
yeah,
it's not
there's
Spock.
a reason.
Why do we need to explain it?
Yeah.
Do you know about my sister?
No,
Okay.
you have a sister, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So why is it so important
We've
that?
camped together so many times. How could I not?
I know, but I don't understand. I don't understand this anal retentive aspect that everything needs to jive.
Yeah.
Like Spock never mentions his sister. He might have got in an argument with her and doesn't care about her anymore.
To be honest, he never mentioned his brother, which they sprang on us in Star Trek
Well,
5.
well, the other thing, it's not hard to believe. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't see every moment of their lives.
Yes.
For all we know, that he and Kirk have long discussions about his sister, over drinks.
Yeah.
and chess.
and his brother Cybok.
I mean,
the illogical Vulcan.
Kirk is so over Spock's sister, this guy can't stop talking about her. Like, he's so done with this.
Or
Which
maybe
is why they never talk
maybe he
about
hates
it.
her, because he
Kirk
stole
said,
the love of his
I
father.
never want to talk about your sister again. I'm so tired of it.
Only if she will go out with me.
That's right, yeah. Will she go with me? No? Okay, I don't want to hear about her.
Hilarious. All right. So, did you guys like the show?
Yeah,
Yes.
I loved it. It was
Rekindled fond memories of watching it in French in syndication.
yeah.
Wow.
Because I was learning and it was all new and it was stimulating because it was 1980 something, so it was new for me. But now this kind of rekindles the whole format. It's not as goody two shoes. It's not as like.
Is Xian is your sister?
Huh?
He says Xian is his cousin. Would that make you his cousin?
Jian. No. Jian is my wife's sister.
Oh, okay.
My sister. Yeah.
Well, I know his wife has like 12 sisters or
Yeah.
something. It's like they can make
No,
a
no.
baseball team.
They're 7, 6.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we've been in for 58 minutes and 45 seconds. Do you have anything that you want to say to wrap it up?
No, really. I guess I'd just say that Star Trek Discovery is compelling, interesting characters having fun space adventures, and that's really what I wanted out of Star Trek, and it delivered.
Basically, I hope it's a sign of things to come. I've completely stopped watching TV. I haven't watched TV in about 20 years now, and this kind of rekindled it. So
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I also loved it. I thought it was good. It was thought provoking. It was really good. And I like how the characters sort of influenced the direction of the Federation, and it was just very good. So
let's just hope they don't end it like Enterprise.
by like having a character from another show. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
10 years after the last events, and they just like.
Yeah. And then the engineer guy kills himself. And it's kind of weird. All right, well, so thank you very much for watching, those of you who did. And I guess this was the Patrick Laplante show. We did it all for you, buddy. Because we camped together also. So, men that camp together. Live long and prosper together. Yeah, live long and prosper. That's right. And then there's also the like in the J.J. Abrams universe, it's die immediately and decay. So yeah.
Nice.
Well, you don't remember that when the bullies called Spock's mom a whore?
What?
In the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, the Vulcan bullies are like, your mom's a whore, and then Spock beats them up.
What?
You don't remember that?
Which movie?
It's in J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Really?
The first
Yes.
one? Oh, I don't remember that.
Young Spock is basically having trouble
Yeah.
with his studies, and then a couple of Vulcan bullies are like, your mom's a whore. That was
right
in
in my mind. Apparently,
it was after the part where the kid stole the car that was playing.
Wait a minute.
That was playing
Klingons
modern
have
music.
no. Vulcans have sex every 7 years. Why do you need horse?
It was in the movie, man. That's all I
Thinking
can
too
say.
hard.
Anyway, so it's been an hour. So peace out, and looking forward to the next Trek show. So yeah, so I mean, send us ideas about what you want us to talk about. Definitely, we're never going to talk about something that we don't all like. I don't know. I don't want to spend an hour just arguing why I hated the last Star Wars movie.
Well, we have religion for that.
Yeah. So anyway, so thank you very much, and
thanks.
ciao. Live long and prosper. Yes, live long and prosper. There you go.